Udah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable Mrs. Pratnyawati Nuridiswarso as the lecturer of Critical Reading course and to all of our beloved friends. Hello, we are from Group 3 and today we're going to present our discussion regarding the article analysis. But before we start, let us introduce ourselves. The first one, we have me, myself, Epsi Passa Darajah, and the second, Aulia Carbella, and then Ananda Riezkya, and the last one is Sarah Ainy Grace. So before we begin breaking down the article, we will first present the article identity. The article we analyze is from a journal called Applied Research on English Language, Volume 13, number 3, pages 65 to 90. This journal is indexed in Scopus and it is ranked in Q2. And for the title, it's EFL Students' Critical Reading and Collaborative Learning Skills via Virtual Literature Circle within a Critical Reading class. It was written by 3 authors, which are Laili Hibatin Wafiroh, Pratiwi Retnaningdiah, and the last is Ahmad Munir from the Faculty of Language and Art, Universitas Negeri Surabaya, Indonesia. This article was received on May 7, 2024 and accepted on June 15, 2024. You can access the article through the link we provide on the slide and also the article's DOI. And the next explanation will be delivered by Aulia Carbella.
In the abstract, there are 6 parts that we have already highlighted in several colors. And the first part is introductions. This introduces the broader fields of the study and highlights the existing issue with EFL educations, providing the context for the study. And the next part is research problem. The sentences highlight the specific challenges in the traditional teaching methods and the gap in EFL settings that the study aims to address. Next part is objective. It shows the focus on investigating PLC's impact of fostering critical reading and manipulations in EFL context. And the next is methodology. The sentence details the approach used in the study, which is mixed methods, and the sample of group, which is 25 EFL students, offering insight into how the research was conducted. And the next part is results. This describes the positive impact of PLC, including increased engagement, better participant, and enhanced writing skills. And the last part is conclusion. Sentence wraps up the findings and emphasizes the importance of the approach to PLC in improving the learning experience for EFL students. And next, we are going to explain about our analysis about the content of the article. And the first part of the article is introductions, which will be delivered by Epsi.
Okay, and the first part is introduction, and we found 5 points in it, which are general overview, research background, advantage and disadvantage, research question, and the last is literature review. And for this part, we also highlight with green color for showing what sentence that represent each points. And the first point is general overview. This part gives a broad picture of EFL learning and points out the difficulties students face in building critical reading and teamwork skills. It introduces the main topic and also the problems. And the next is the research background. These paragraphs talk about past research on how EFL students take part in learning activities. They also explain what literature circles are and how they were adapted into an online format known as virtual literature circle. The paragraphs highlight the importance of critical reading using different studies to support the reason for the research. And the next is the advantage and disadvantage. These sentences discuss both the strengths and also weaknesses of using LC and VLC. It mentioned positive aspects like more flexibility, higher students' involvement, and learning that fits each student. It also talks about the problems such as technical issues and differences in digital skills. This gives a fair view of both sides. And the next is the research question. These questions are clearly stated, focused, and directly connect with the research topic and previous studies. And the last is the literature review. The review look at several points such as the problems in teaching critical reading and group learning in EFL classes, why it's important to grow students' critical thinking, and how VLC can be useful method to solve the problems. And that's all from the introduction part. The next part it will be discuss about the methodology, and the presenter is Ananda Riezkya. Please.
Okay, thank you, Epsi. So here we are going to break down and analyze the parts that we found in methodology. The first part is research design. So the sentences being highlighted directly identifies the research design used in the study of sequential explanatory mixed methods, which integrates both quantitative and qualitative base for a comprehensive understanding. For the next slide is data and data sources. So the sentences here is describe what kind of data was collected, quantitative from questionnaire and qualitative from interview, and where the data came from, participant and instruments. For the next slide is research procedure. This outlines the procedural timeline of the study, which was done, when and how the activities were structured over time. For the next slide is data collection. So this details how the data were collected, including tools and methods used to gather observational and instructional data in the VLC context. The next slide is the instrument. So the sentence highlighted confirmed that the questionnaire was adapted and rubric or assessment were adopted, satisfying the requirement to show the source of instrument used in the study. And for the last part that we found is data analysis. This explains the method used for the data analysis and to demonstrate validity in terms of reliability of the quantitative instrument using a recognized statistical measure or by Cronbach's alpha. And that's all for the methodology. The next part is result and will be delivered by Sarah.
So the next is result. So in this result, we can see the presentation of findings and explanation of data and the objective of the article. So in presentation of findings, you can find the table which consists of the data related to critical reading aspect. The aspect include inference, analysis, and evaluation. Not only that, the data that is presented also explain a collaborative learning aspect. Next slide. And then in result, we can find into explanation of data. In this part, the data have been provided in the table or in the form of qualitative arguments supports the idea related to VLC on critical reading and collaborative learning aspect. So the VLC has been proven to have influence and impact on critical reading and collaborative learning. In this part, so we can see the objectivity of the article. The result of the research is constructed with the framework of the research. The data is provided in the form of quantitative result and qualitative arguments to ensure the objectivity. So that's all from result. Next is discussions that Bella will be presented.
In discussions, there are two one point that we can find in discussions. So the first point is summary. And summary provides the aims of the study, which is to investigate the impact of PLC on critical reading skills and collaborative learning among FL students, providing insight into their effectiveness, challenges, benefits, and areas for improvement. And the next slide, please. The next point is interpretations. The interpretations of this study is
The researchers want to show that even though the result shows students' positive perception and benefits of PLC, they also emphasize the need to address challenges and implement effective support mechanisms to improve its overall performance. And for the implications is to contribute to understanding of the potential benefits and challenges associated with the implementations of PLC in workforce applications. And the last point is recommendations or the suggestions given by the researchers for future research, which is to explore additional factors influencing the implementations and outcomes of PLC, as well as to assess their long-term effects on students' reading comprehension and academic performance. And the next part of this analysis article is conclusions will be delivered by by
Okay, for the conclusion. So this paragraph wraps up the main findings, highlights both benefits and challenges of PLC for EFL students, and explains its importance for educators and curriculum designer. It also mentions the study's limitation and gives suggestion for the future researcher, making it a complete conclusion. And for the acknowledgement will be delivered by Sarah.
So the last is acknowledgements. This part, the sentence show the author's sincerity towards the participant involved in the research. So that's all from our group. Thank you for listening. Thank you guys. Bye bye.